Welcome to Midnight Movie Talk live from Los Angeles. Thursday night, we have an evaluation to start. I had these grand plans tonight for the show. We were going to do all this stuff about Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Barbie, and Oppenheimer. And then I sat through No Hard Feelings. I have to pause, gather myself before I unleash sheer destruction. Here come the MMT. 3 key takeaways from a film that could be described very much like Babylon as a tonal disaster. We'll get to that in a minute. The first thing that you recognize when you watch No Hard Feelings is that this is a terribly directed film. Now, there are bad edits. That's minor. There are scenes that go on way too long. That's a problem. But the number one problem that we have here from our director, and by the way, you go back, you look at his name is Gene Stupnitsky. He directed Good Boy. Remember that from like 2019? That overrated comedy, Universal, same kind of thing we have here, raunch kind of com with the young kids. Okay. When you are trying to do tone that is not just raunch com, you're trying to weave through this almost drama that's going on here with Jennifer Lawrence's character, who, by the way, is good. I like Jennifer Lawrence. We're going to get to more about what she decided. Why did she make this movie? But when you're trying to weave together some comedy with drama, and then you mix it all up in a blender and you present it at the same fucking time, like the director here does, who also wrote the script, you end up with, yes, a tonal disaster. This film is such a shit show when it comes to trying to do the comedy and then quickly turning it to some sweet moment and then back to the comedic moment that doesn't quite land, and then the jokes that are sort of funny but not funny enough. This was a film that I imagine Jennifer Lawrence looked at in the screenplay form and said, maybe this could work. We can go hard R here. We can do some Fairley Brothers kind of thing. The problem is that the director here, Gene Stupnitsky, does not have 1 ounce of the talent that the Fairley Brothers do to direct a comedy that has tone like this film. You have to be very skilled, okay? You have to know how to balance things, how to basically make the thing not blow up the way that this film does. Jennifer Lawrence plays this shit show of a human being, 32-year-old woman who is trying to make payments for her Uber car, falls behind, gets it repossessed, and then has to go pay for her new, I should say old, 1990 something Buick by banging this 18-year-old kid that has not come out of his shell yet. Failure to launch from the rich parents are going to give her the 1990s Buick because they just have one sitting around. Okay, hold on. Okay, get it together, Weber. So she has to bang him to get the 1990s Buick. You guys, this is just pure comedic gold, right? And she has to get into his life, worm her way in, and the kids, of course, rejecting her because he's not ever been with a woman. There's the comedy. The problem with the film is that there are so many moments that fall dead, and you just look at the screen going, Jennifer, what the hell were you thinking making this film? And I'll tell you, I don't care if it's a spoiler, I'm going to do it. Guys, this film is bad. There's a scene where they go skinny dipping in the ocean. Jennifer Lawrence and her 18-year-old, if I bang the kid, I get the Buick. And some teenagers show up on the beach and steal their clothes because they're skinny dipping. They're in the ocean. She comes out of the ocean, buck naked, and suplexes a kid to get her phone and her clothes back. In the process, Jennifer Lawrence is naked like the creature in Barbarian. Okay? Picture that for me. I am in an utter state of disbelief that Jennifer Lawrence's agent, manager, and her on the set when they're getting ready to shoot this scene. Jennifer, we're going to have you get naked and you're going to swing your breasts around as you grab this dude and suplex him / body slam him to the sand. This is an Academy Award winning actress. Jennifer Lawrence. I know that if we strapped you into a chair and it was a lie detector machine and we said, you are compelled to tell the truth, you would tell us, shit, I can't believe I made this movie. What the fuck was I thinking? Because all this has done, and right now it might seem kind of funny, right? Here comes the movie. It's going to be this ranch-com. You can build on what you do. And by the way, you go back and look at Causeway. I like Causeway. I was one of the big fans of that film. She's very good. Brian Tyree Henry is the film, but she's very much right there with him. It's a performance film, some script. Then you watch this, Jennifer Lawrence, what happened to you? What are you doing suplexing a kid naked on the beach? What am I watching? Tonally, disaster. Script-wise, doesn't work. And direction, subpar. This is the perfect film to watch if you want to watch a film that could have possibly been something at least pretty funny or at least sort of decent, and then to watch it completely come apart based on the skill of the director and a screenplay that is not there. And then you watch Jennifer Lawrence just completely fall apart. What a fucking disaster for her. Right now, everyone's going to come on and say, she wanted to do it. It's fun. She's having fun. It's not supposed to be serious. I know what the film is. I get it. It doesn't work. It's a catastrophe for her. It's a 45% for me. And I'm telling you guys, in just a few months from now, the conversation is going to go from, oh, Hard Feelings is great. Look, it's fresh. It's funny. To, holy shit. Jennifer Lawrence just torpedoed her career. This is Jennifer Lawrence's Beau is Afraid. In fact, Jennifer Lawrence should now make a movie with Ari Aster. Because if you combine the two films, you've combined two talents that have self-destroyed their own careers by being in two of the worst films of the year. Number one, Beau is Afraid. And right now, for me, it's very hard not to consider, at least have it in the conversation for the second worst film of the year, No Hard Feelings. This is a film, and this is why I just am so happy to have this stream and to be able to do this, because this is what I really want to do. This is a film that is going to separate a very average to, I would say, below average critic, and a critic who can identify when a film completely misfires the way this one does. There are so many moments in this film that I watch and I go, Who wasn't on set that day to tell director Gene that this is not working? I wish I would have test screened this movie, 5 months ago for Sony, and I would have said, you need to cut 15 minutes out of this. You need to fire Gillespie, whatever his name is, Gene Skaprinsky. I'm kidding, Craig Gillespie. There's a talent. Fire him, get someone else in here, recut the film. Recut the film. By the way, that is 2 films from Sony this year that have been unmitigated disasters. 1, 65. 2, No Hard Feelings. And you tell me that I can't run a studio. You show me this, we're going to just absolutely destroy it. Does anyone want to talk about Jennifer Lawrence and her decision to be in this unmitigated disaster? Bring the comments to me, producer Nate. I'm ready to roll. What do we got? What do we got here? I saw it earlier. This is a failure of the director. Bang! Jim. Scenes that should have been funny did not hit because of direction. This is it. Jim, you deserve 50 gold stars for this comment. This is textbook destruction of a film based on the absolute inability of the director to show even a shred of talent directing a comedy. It is a failure of unconscionable levels. And this director should never work again in the history of film. He destroyed a film, and Jim, you nailed it. This director destroyed the film. Destroyed it. I can't even believe what I just watched. Sandom, I think this movie will be a modest hit. I agree it's kind of lame, but it's like Ticket to Paradise lame. Nothing movie that exists to prove movie stars are still draws. I never got around to Ticket to Paradise. I cannot compare it to that. I can compare it to a comedy I saw earlier this year called Champions, directed by one of the Farrelly brothers. They know how to direct a comedy. You can, have whatever you want to have with Green Book, but it is a well-directed film from at least not like a flashy film by any means, but it is at least watchable. It is at least assembled with skill. And same thing with Champions. And then you go watch this film and you watch a director who literally has no talent. It is an embarrassment. And this director should never work in Hollywood again. That is the number one problem with the film. The script is not good. The director, it's not Jennifer Lawrence's fault. It's not her performance. And the young actor in this is very good as well. What's his name? I don't think I've ever seen the kid. He's good. Andrew Barth Feldman. Very good. The performances aren't the issue. It's the direction. The direction is an embarrassment, and it is absolutely self-destruction. I think maybe a bit of an overreaction. Bad comedy from a non-comedic actor is just forgettable, not damning. Greasy Guido, no, it is damning because we cannot allow a director like this to direct films. You can't work in this town with the film I just watched. You can never work again for me in any level from a directorial standpoint after watching No Hard Feelings. And I think this is why I am so, as you're saying, overreacting. Let me tell you why I get so passionate. Because we are in a business here in Hollywood where you have extremely talented individuals who are not working, and you have hacks like the director who put this thing together that are working, and that's wrong. And I'm going to call that out all day, all night. If that's all we do on this channel, so be it. That is a mission to stop making films from hack talents. Get rid of them. Elizabeth Banks, Cocaine Bear. She should not direct a film anytime in the near future. Director here tonight, Gene, whatever the hell his last name, it doesn't even matter. He's never working again, so it doesn't matter. Also, there are too many critics in this space who can't even identify the issues that we have here. And Gene, Jim, to start the stream off with a comment, you are better than 95% of the film critics in the space because you identified exactly what I just saw. There are some critics that will not see what we just saw, but when you see it, you understand why the film doesn't work in its textbook. It is textbook. Next, give me the next comment. Let's go. Producer Nate, let's do it. I am fired up. I'm ready to roll. It'll help her career because it's a bad movie, but modest hit. It'll prove she's still a draw. Uh, okay, let's get to the projector for me tonight on this film. We'll go more, and then we're going to get into other things. I'm not just going to do no hard feelings. I've got so much I want to talk about, but listen, guys, I'm passionate. Okay, some would say overly passionate. It's fine. I don't really care. That's otherwise. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this if I'm not going to come on here and just absolutely unload when it's time to unload, like we did on Babylon, like we did on Beau's Afraid, like we did on Cocaine Bear, on Magic Mike's Last Dance, Scream 6. When we have talents that have no talent doing work in this town to a film that is as fucked up as you can get from a directorial standpoint in a screenplay that shouldn't even have been made, not in the version that we get. I love the idea of Jennifer Lawrence, okay, in the role that she's in. I like the kid in the role he's in. And then we need to literally go in and reconstruct almost every other element. We can even still set it on in the Hamptons. We can still do that. We can still do all these things, but we have to go back in and literally Frankenstein this bitch. We have to take everything apart and then reassemble it. That's how bad this film is. And anyone who doesn't recognize the things I just told you, I'm going to be as man unvarnished as I can. They don't know what they're doing. It's that bad. It's that noticeable that if you don't see the major problems with this film, you can't do this job. That's it. That's all there is to say. Midnight Movie. Oh my God, I literally just forgot the name of the show. I'm so fuming over what I just watched. That this guy has a job. This guy made a film. It's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment to the art of film. And I know it's a hack comedy. I get that it is a raunch-com. It doesn't mean it can't be it's as bad as it is. Projector on this is 12.5. So to your point, when we look at the comment and we look at, you saying it's going to help Jennifer Lawrence's career, 12.5 million is not great. I mean, if the film outperforms, maybe gets to 15. If it goes absolutely haywire, it gets to 20. There's no way. In fact, right now, if I look at the box office, I'm going to take Spider-Man at number 1 at somewhere around 17 this weekend. When you look at Spider-Man, it's holding so well weekend to weekend, right? Spider-Verse 2 is a story that is all about holds. It's all about word of mouth. It's all about theatrical exclusivity. All of those things combine to give it what we see. Staying power in the marketplace because it has all three of those elements going for it. The film that does not have that going for it is the film that could fall as much as 70% this weekend. The Flash could end up with 70% plus on the drop. Usually we're looking at for a comic book movie 60, 65, 70. We saw Guardians hold in the 50s. That's unusual. This is not going to be that. This film is going down hard. I mean, on yesterday, it made like 3.5 million. What was it, 3.7? Terrible number. For a first week, the first Wednesday that it's out, Flash is going down. I don't want to get into the fact that the film doesn't deserve to be hammered as bad as it is, but it is what it is. It's going to drop close to 70, which will put it possibly in second place at about 16.5, 17 million. That means we're looking at maybe Spider-Verse 1, Flash 2, and then No Hard Feelings in there about 12.5. So this is the quiet weekend. We're not going to do a whole lot of box office tonight. We're not even going to go look at ticket sales because No Hard Feelings is not even a big enough film to warrant looking at sales across Los Angeles. 12.5 million is like nothing compared to the films we're usually talking about 50 plus million. So this is a quiet weekend ahead of Indiana Jones. Bunch of shows next week, so we've got to talk about that film. It's in big trouble. I mean, Indiana Jones is in huge trouble. And as we roll to that, I want to get to this. Did you guys hear that Kathleen Kennedy? I was just coming on and I was just like, let's check and see what's happening. Kathleen Kennedy is now saying that it's entirely possible for Phoebe Waller-Bridge to take over as Indiana Jones. Now, having seen Indiana Jones in the Dial of Mediocrity, it's not going to be an issue. This is not going to be a problem for Kathleen Kennedy to worry about. Do you guys know why? Can I tell you why? because Indiana Jones and the Dial of Mediocrity is going to bomb. It is going to do a number that is, I don't want the ad, get out of here. It's going to do a number that is going to cancel any future Indiana Jones installments. So discussion of Phoebe Waller-Bridge taking over Indiana Jones is moot. There is no reason to even discuss it because the film is going down and it's going down hard. And when films go down at the level that I expect Indiana Jones and the Dial of Mediocrity to do, then it won't matter about Phoebe Waller-Bridge because it's over. Whiplash 95. A Phoebe Waller-Bridge led Indiana Jones film would make about $10 million. Listen, this film is not great. It's 30 minutes too long. Indiana Jones is 80. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is shoehorned in as a replacement, but none of it's going to matter because all of that's going to combine to sink the film. They're not going to make another Indiana Jones film. It's over. The franchise is over. It'll be over very quickly. I guarantee it. This film is not going anywhere. They simply don't get what people want from indie movies. William, it's not just that. It's the fact that we didn't need another Indiana Jones movie with Harrison Ford at 80. That's a big part of this. I know Mangold just said that. People don't want to see it because Harrison Ford's 70. He's closer to 80. Okay? He's 80 years old. 79, right? Why are we making Indiana Jones movies where he's scaling the side of a cliff, where he's scuba diving at 80? That's not what 80-year-olds usually do. It's not to suggest that they can't or they don't. To watch Harrison Ford go underwater and then be attacked by eels, much like the snakes. Oh, it's so clever. No. What are we doing? If you're going to do this, and to your point, let me work this in with you, what you're saying, William, then what I would do is I'd pass the torch along to a young actor who can work as Indiana Jones, not Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And here's why. It's the same thing we talk about all the time with Disney. They did it again. Disney can't stop themselves when it comes to replacing the male hero and giving it the female heroine. Every single franchise. Every single one, including, yes, Cars 3. Don't make me do it again. I've done it a million times. I'm not doing it again. Every single time they try to do it here again. Unfortunately, it's not going to work for them because the film's going to bomb. Goober, I thought it was going to say it's entirely possible that Phoebe Waller-Bridge to take over as Lucasfilm president. Maybe. I mean, but Kathleen Kennedy's not going anywhere. Who's going to fire her? No one's going to fire her. She's not getting fired. She is untouchable. There's Kathleen Kennedy. I know that this is going to piss a lot of people off. She is untouchable. She will not be fired. She won't be fired by anyone at Disney. Obviously not at Lucasfilm. She's not going anywhere. You guys are going to have to deal with her. It is what it is. Michael Martinez, I heard the new Star Wars. I just lost a comment. Can you bring it back, please? I heard the new Star Wars movie is going to be good. There's Rey and stuff happens in Star Wars music. Stupid yellow laser sword. Okay, let's get into it because I do want to talk about Rey returning to Star Wars. I saw this today. You guys know, listen, we talked about it the other night. Star Wars is fine. I don't mind Star Wars. I sure as hell don't want to talk about Star Wars 24 hours a day. Like, I can't even imagine doing a show talking about Star Wars for 2 hours. I have no interest. I like this. Listen, I grew up with them. I saw them in theaters. Star Wars is fine. That's not my diet. My diet is watching quality cinema. Okay? Movies like, get out your bingo cards, everybody. Get out your bingo cards! Movies like Tar. Movies like After Sun. Movies like John Wick 4. Different kind of cinema. Great film. Let's talk about what's going on with Star Wars. Because this is where you guys, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. This is where you're going to take over the show. You and your comments are about ready to take over MMT. It's an invasion of you. I don't have much to say about this. I'm going to let you guys speak on this because I just told you I don't want to talk about Star Wars all night, but I'll do this and then you guys are going to jump in and tell me what you think. Here's the new Star Wars film getting reported. This is on World of Real. Credit to them. They have a lot of good sources in test screenings and also in studios who spread word. And a lot of times it's insiders, right, who want to get the word of mouth going strong. I get it. Set roughly 15 years after Rey's victory over Palpatine at the end of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, sequel delves into Rey's courageous endeavor to restore the Jedi Order, where she assumes the role of mentor to two promising young students, a girl and a boy. A transgender boy. Just kidding. Ah! Oh no, whoever's doing it, he's going to break it. As the training progresses, it becomes evident that the girl possesses an extraordinary abilities destined to emerge as a future leader. Well, first of all, everybody, can I just real quickly comment? I just said I don't want to comment. Can I just comment? Because how perfect is this? Let me read this one more time to you. As their training progresses, it becomes evident that the girl possesses extraordinary abilities. What? You're kidding me. Disney is going to send another franchise off with another female heroine? Well, technically, you don't need to say female with that. You know what I'm saying? We just did it. We just did it with Indiana Jones, and here it is again. We've got a boy and a girl who are going to be the next leaders of the Jedi, but it's the girl who's better than the boy. Now, guys, you don't understand something. This is all like almost a comedy bit at this point. I don't care. I really don't care. And there's people like, yes, you do. You're just not saying it. I don't give a shit. I just want to point out the absurdity that every single time we have a chance to extend, the franchise with the next person up, let's get the next man up and replace it's always a woman with Disney. Why is that? That's what I'm asking you. Right? Give me a like. Give me a comment. You guys take over. Comments, go. Steven, I don't hate Daisy Ridley, but need someone who can command the screen. A Cate Blanchett or Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh is more interesting certainly from an actor standpoint than Daisy Ridley. I agree. Daisy Ridley's a beautiful girl though, right? No question. She has the physical look that's commanding on a screen, but Florence Pugh is more interesting as an actress, whichever way. She's interesting as an actor, period. And as such, I would agree with this. Cate Blanchett's another level. I mean, come on, you guys. I mean, come on. We're talking about Tar, right? There it is. Which has more fatigue, Star Wars or superhero movies? At this point, superhero movies for me, because I haven't seen a Star Wars movie. I don't watch the show, so I don't watch Endor. I don't watch The Mandalorian. So for me, Star Wars is the movie. So for me, I'm going to answer superhero movies because I've seen so many and we're so tired. I'm just tired, like Michael Shannon said about Star Wars the other day. Aren't we all just tired of the same movie? I mean, every movie is the same with a superhero movie. Yes, some of the pieces are interchangeable and you have a slight variation here and there, but in general, it is some shit happens. We got to gather the team together. We got to go assemble some shit, get it back together, and then defeat the bad guy. Every movie. Transformers was just that, and that's not even a superhero movie. I'm so tired of we have to venture across the universe to gather these pieces that are scattered so that we can recollect them and then we can save the universe. Guardians 3, we have to go on an adventure to save X. Can we write something more interesting? Can we write something like Tar as a superhero movie? Star Wars has so much potential to be far better than it actually is. The lore is good. I'm not going to argue. It's great. I mean, I think it's got the potential, but then you have these things that just are the same shit over and over and over. Guys, I'm not going to say it again. I'm not even going to do it. I just told you. Lifelong Star Wars fan, and I needed to go away. Goober, good. That's how I feel. And I'm not even like a huge Star Wars guy. Which, by the way, isn't that heresy? Like for a YouTube guy to come on here and go, I'm not really into Star Wars. Oh, what? You don't know the mythology of every Star Wars character? I mean, I had all the figures when I was a kid. I mean, I made my mom drive me to Children's Palace to buy IG-88, the figure. Does that make me a nerd? I literally, no joke. When the Star Wars figures are out, especially Empire Strikes Back, I was like, I need all the figures. Like, I need every single random character that's in the movie. And like IG-88, he's only in it for like 5 seconds. So I was like, I need the figure, and he was hard to find. So I used to get on the phone in Columbus, Ohio. So if you want to question my nerdhood, let me just explain to you. When I was a kid, I would get on the phone, a landline, and I would call the toy stores in Columbus, Ohio, and I'd say, do you have IG-88, and they'd be like, who are you and what are you at? We don't even know what you're. The Star Wars figure IG-88. Do you have it in the back? Look, can you look through all of the figures right now and look for the long, really skinny droid guy with like a really big rifle? Do you see him? And if you do, I'd like to come purchase him. And no joke, I made calls to every toy store in Columbus, and finally, Kitty Corner. If anyone's from Columbus right now, you know that I am speaking gospel truth to you. Kitty Corner was the toy store, and they said, we have IG-88. I said, wait a second. Can you describe him to me? He's a skinny robot with a long rifle. And it does say IG-88 on the package. It does. Mom, get in the car. We're going to Kitty Corner now. So don't question me on my nerdhood. So far, I'm not hopeful the story will be good. They're already making the same mistakes right in the premise, right? Well, no, they're not making the same mistakes. They're making the, quote, mistake of handing the franchise off to another female hero. A heroine. I mean, yeah, okay. All right, I'll do one more Star Wars and we got to move on. I can't do this all night. Who's a better actress, Cate Blanchett or Meryl Streep? Draw. All right, next, let's go to Oppenheimer. First reactions are out. Well, at least from Christopher Nolan and from some random people on, I think, Reddit. It's being described as a horror movie. Okay, let me tell you my concerns with Oppenheimer. It's not the direction. It's not the talent of the man behind the camera. It's not the actors, obviously. It's none of that. The problem with Oppenheimer for me is we know the story. How compelling can you make a story that we know what happens? And with Christopher Nolan, we obviously, one of his strengths is, for better or worse, at least his films are original. And so you don't know what's going to happen, right? So when you watch a Tenet, you still don't know what's going to happen at the end of the movie. You don't know what happened. With Oppenheimer, we know the story. So how good is he at telling a story? Is he David Fincher-esque at being able to tell a non-fiction story like we saw with The Social Network with Fincher? Does he have that? I mean, I trust the guy. I'm just saying that's my problem with it. Now, let's get into the reaction. He calls it a horror movie. It's an intense experience because it's an intense story. Well, of course. I showed it to a filmmaker recently who said it's kind of a horror movie. I don't disagree. According to Nolan, the horror elements come from the darkness of the film's story. Obviously, we know creating the Manhattan Project, right? The atomic bomb. Hello. It's a complicated set of feelings to be entertained by awful things, you know? Let's see. Some people leave the movie absolutely devastated. They can't speak. I mean, there's an element of fear that's there in the history and there in the underpinnings, but the love of the characters, the love of the relationships, as strong as I've ever done. Okay. So he is obviously going to pimp his own movie. We know that. And so he's going to say it's good. And of course, the director he showed it to is going to say it's good, right? Can you imagine? This is why they don't love showing me movies, because I just destroyed No Hard Feelings. I mean, literally, if I had talked to Gene, what the hell's Gene's last name? I'm going to try to remember it for the last time. Gene Stupnitsky. If I had seen that film, No Hard Feelings, and he was in the room, I would not be able to stop myself from going nuclear after watching the film, because it shouldn't happen. And that is why when you watch a film like, you know, let's say that, do you think that Nolan's director friend is going to tell him there's any issues with the film? No, because it's Hollywood, and Hollywood kisses ass and your film's so great. It's like a horror movie. It's so amazing. And then they get off the phone with Nolan and they turn around and go, that's too long, man. I'll tell you what, it's almost 3 hours. There's some good stuff there, but it needs to be cut down by an hour. No one's going to tell Nolan that. I'll do that. Almost to a point where it's going to be dangerous, because I'm going to get so heated. Like after watching No Hard Feelings, I need to be removed. It's a really strong visceral reaction when you watch something that you are so personally offended by. Welcome to the channel, Arpita. I find Nolan's choice of subject matter very odd these days. He's getting, he's getting up there in age. He's, what interests him is going to change. So he probably wants to look back at history through his own lens, obviously, with this case with Oppenheimer. I want to see a Nolan original. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, I want to see Oppenheimer. It's Christopher Nolan. But I would rather watch a Nolan original, right, story than I would Oppenheimer. That's just, I haven't seen it. I'm just telling you. I'm not saying it won't be good. I'm just telling you. I'd rather. You guys feel me. Give me a like if you understand what I just said. Hopefully that's how you guys feel tonight. Tonight's kit, Independent Del Valle, one of the few football leagues still going down in Ecuador. So tonight, yes, we have reached deep into the closet. Let's talk about this too. We talked about Oppenheimer first reactions. We've got Fincher's The Killer. Is it his darkest film yet? Again, I go back to World of Real, and credit to World of Real again for coming up with this stuff. Now, granted, some of it's from Reddit. Some of it is from wherever they get their sources, people that are inside the test screenings, inside Netflix. It's good. That's very good. And there's nothing, kudos to Jordan, I believe. Is it Jordan, I believe, who runs the site? Yeah. Okay, so here's The Killer. Obviously, it's David Fincher. We know that it's one of the most anticipated films of the year. It's Netflix. Apparently, it was screened for execs there and staff back about 2 months ago now. And the room was, quote, stunned by the end of the 150-minute film. Of course, it's going to be 150. It's Netflix. It's Fincher. They're not going to tell him to cut it. Okay, we know when we saw The Irishman, that's almost 3 hours long. It needed to be 2:15. They're not going to tell a director to cut their film, so we knew that it's going to be long as hell. It's extremely stylistic, probably the most out of all of Fincher's movies. It's also his most violent movie to date, no joke. Goes to some pretty dark places. It's also very thrill heavy, but some of the action was actually mind blowing. Okay, I don't want to go more into it. You guys can read it if you want to. Listen. I love David Fincher, just like a Nolan, just like a Bong, just like Tarantino, just like a Rose Glass, just like, it's not just male directors. So I'm excited for the film. The things that I'm not excited for about The Killer, and it is encouraging to hear that he's going for it, right? But you knew Fincher would. Let's hope it's better than Mank. That's the first thing. Let's just pray that the film is stronger than Mank, which was an absolute overlong bore of a film. Between Mank and Babylon, we had two really extraordinarily disappointing films about 1920s Hollywood. But when you look at The Killer, let's just hope it's great. The only thing I'm not happy about is Netflix, and they still don't have theatrical. By the way, I want to talk about this quickly. Did you see the Academy? The Academy said, by the way, in 2025, right, for eligibility for Oscars 2025, not next year, the year after, you have to have theatrical and all these components. Essentially, you got to release this thing and make it pretty wide to have it be Oscar eligible for Best Picture in particular. Good Academy. You should have done that over a year ago. Should happen this year with the Oscars. Oscars 2024. We need to have that happen now because the theatrical marketplace is back. No reason not to do it. So, Netflix, get your shit together. Get your movies at AMC, Regal, Cinemark. Make it happen. There's no more excuses. We're not giving you another out. It's over. Time to play. All right, let's do some open comments. Andre, welcome to the channel. If they do National Cinema Day again this year on September 2nd, what will happen to The Equalizer 3? It comes out in theaters September 1st. If they do that, where they give those, it was a $5 tickets or was it $3? It was super cheap. Was it $3? Even at $5. I bet Equalizer 3 is Sony, correct? I believe it is. Yeah, just don't hold me to that. I'm going to say whoever the studio is. I bet they'll go for it because they will sell so many seats they wouldn't normally sell at that discounted rate, kind of like the Tuesdays, right? You guys know that Tuesday is discount day at theater chains. AMC, Regal, I believe Cinemark. If you go see a movie on Tuesday, you get in for $5-6. That's good for business, right? So I bet that, tell me it's Sony. In the comments, someone's very smart. They're going to tell me for me. If I know that, that's scary. Equalizer is going to benefit from those lower ticket prices, because that's a movie that's going to open at about 15, 16, 17, maybe 20. If you sell more tickets at a lower price, maybe you get that number to 20s plus. So good question, Andre. Welcome to the channel, by the way. Really appreciate you being here. If you have not already liked and subscribed, please do so. I want to make sure before I get to open comment, I'm going to do open comments here, but I do want to, tonight's must-see we'll get to in a moment. We can do some comments, then we'll get to that at the end. Make sure I don't have anything else that I missed here. No, it looks like we're good. So let's do open comment time. Do you guys mind if I just for a moment? Do you guys mind if just for do I want to? I'll save this. I'm going to save it for Sunday. Never mind. I'm going to save it for Sunday. It's gonna dovetail into show of the week. We have a show of the week. I'm going to put 2 in there for it. 2 for the price of 1. Mega YouTube, just saw No Hard Feelings. Once again, Eric, you're too harsh on a comedy. It was good. No, it wasn't. No, Mega YouTube, it wasn't. And here, listen, I'm going to say this. And I know I've said this in the past, and it's like very strong what I'm about to say. If you don't recognize the major issues that are on display with No Hard Feelings from a screenplay and most importantly, a direction standpoint, I don't care if it's a comedy. We have to demand more from the talent involved with our films, and in this case, the directors. There are too many badass directors out there who can't get their work seen, and then you have this clown making a film that is this bad from a direction standpoint that we can't have that happen. This can't happen. And Mega YouTube, yes, I'm going to go after you right now because it's there in front of you. The direction is shit in this film, and the direction destroys the film. It's that bad. This man has no idea how to juggle tone. He has the talent of a student director. I would argue less at directing a comedy. Figure out how to do it. Have Paul Feig do it. Go watch Last Christmas, a film that by all accounts should be an abomination. Do you know why Last Christmas is actually entertaining? Exactly what you're saying here, Mega YouTube. It's a comedy. You know why it works when it should never work? That is a film that should absolutely self-destruct, and it doesn't because of Paul Feig. That man knows how to direct a comedy. The Farrelly brothers know how to direct a comedy. And when you have to know how to do that. And our boy here tonight doesn't know how. He has a rudimentary sense of how to direct a comedy. Good Boys was overrated. And this is a talent that should not work again as a director. I'm not going to, it's that simple. It's that poorly directed. And it's little things, guys. When you watch No Hard Feelings, I need you to be extra tuned in to things like when to edit a scene, when to stop. And when you watch No Hard Feelings, there's multiple times when you watch where it's like if you would have cut and literally gotten rid of a scene or just the end of it. Great example, Tow Truck Driver. Off the top, or maybe it's later in the movie, tow truck driver pulls up with her car and she goes back and forth with him. There's a point where she has a line that was sort of funny, and that's where you cut, right? That's where you end on her scene. You end on her face, and then you go to the next scene. Instead, the director cuts to the tow truck driver looking at her and getting back in the car. These are things that can't happen. Because I'm telling you, if we were to go back in and cut it and to make it like I told you, you'd be like, that's good. And it's little things like that that destroy a film. And my boy tonight destroyed his own film with the inability to know when to edit and when to get the tone right. Doesn't possess the talent needed to direct this film. That's what I'm going to tell you. And I'm 100% right. I know it. I know I'm right. Anyone who watches this film, you're going to see what I saw. Watch it. It's poorly directed. Very poorly directed. Saw Unfriended for the first time yesterday. It's so great. From an entertainment perspective, it's a masterpiece. Thank you, Gone Girl. And I respect you because I know you didn't just come in here to say that. You would argue with me, and that's what I want you guys to do. Mega YouTube, I still want you to watch the channel. I went after you because I strongly believe that what I see on the screen from No Hard Feelings is poor direction, and I know I'm right, and you need to open your eyes to it. That's what we're trying to get you guys to do, to be very critical thinkers, not just to go, it's a comedy, I'm going to accept what they give me. I want you to do more. When I watch Champions, and I know some of you can say whatever about Champions, it's well directed. And I'll tell you where you see the direction skill of whichever Farrelly brother directed it. I don't remember which one. But when you watch Champions, go watch it. And there's one thing in particular that tells me this person knows how to tell a story and how to direct. It is the montage of explaining the lives of all of the kids on the basketball team. Each of them that has a job outside of basketball. One works at a restaurant. One works at a welding shop. The way that scene, it's tight. It's like a 2-minute montage of each player on the team and how they live their lives away from basketball. It's so well done that is how you do it. And what we need to do is when we watch a film, no matter what it is, you need to be paying attention for things that are done well and things that are fucked up. And when you watch No Hard Feelings, you've got performances that are there, and then you have a direction effort that is at best average, at worst subpar or worse. And that is unacceptable from a major film starring Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence, you were screwed by your director who does not possess the talent to make the film that you wanted to be in. And the fact that you said yes to running around naked on the beach like the woman in Barbarian at the end of the film, slamming kids on the sand, makes me wonder what you were thinking at the moment you agreed to do that scene. I can't even fathom what was going on other than a serious amount of shrooms. And here's the thing. Guys, listen. It's streams like this that get me banned from future screenings. But I don't care anymore because we have accepted mediocrity for so long that I'm done with it. I'm no longer going to accept mediocrity or worse from films. I don't care if the film's a goof comedy, a raunch-com, a drama, a horror film. I demand more from my films, and No Hard Feelings is a fail on that end because the director is untalented. Eric needs less. I don't listen. Let me tell you something. This is going to be because what I do here is, you guys know this, completely and utterly wide open, full throttle, unvarnished, authentic as the truth as I see it. That is not easy to do. It takes a lot. You almost have to let yourself just roll. And at times, yes, I will admit, I have definitely gone like batshit crazy. I'm not going to lie about that. But it's a performance in a way, but it's authentic because I legitimately am furious that Sony didn't make this director recut the film to make it stronger. It's if you would have gone back into No Hard Feelings and cut 10 minutes, tightened things, cleaned up the tone, it would be so much better. And that's why I'm angry, because you destroyed your own film by not telling director that his movie sucks. Favorite recent horror movie? Josh, thank you. Thank you for getting me off. You know what's funny? I never thought when I was getting ready to do this stream today, I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to see No Hard Feelings. We'll get on and talk about it for like 5 minutes. I never thought that I would be on a stream here tonight still talking about a raunch-com that should be something I discuss for 30 seconds, maybe a minute, maybe 2. But after you see a film like this, it's not so much the film that we're disgusted by. It's that Hollywood has lost the ability to tell its talents to fix shit. That is what this is all about. These studio execs have no balls, and they will never tell these directors, your film isn't good. You got to go back in and re-edit the entire thing. Go back and watch the Gray Man stream from last year. The whole stream was about, I can't believe they let the Russo brothers bring that shit edit of a film into streaming. I almost said theaters. It was in like 3 theaters. Thank God. It's so terrible. That's the issue. Hollywood needs to get control of their directors and get more studio control of their films. And tonight was another example of that. That's it. Weber doesn't want any artist independence. Well, when they've proven they don't deserve it, then the answer is yes, you no longer have the power over your film. We're taking it out of your hands and we're going to recut it. That's what I would have told Greg, what's his ass, hack talent who directed No Hard Feelings. This is actually the hardest I've ever gone after a director because it's so underwhelming that this talent should not be working in Hollywood. We need stronger talent. We need much stronger talent. You can't let someone like this direct a film and then direct another film. It's and I know those of you who are going to see it, back me up. Someone in the comments. We have 400 comments. Someone in here saw the movie tonight and will tell me it's terrible, other than the one person. Can we bring back producer Nate? Can you roll all the way back to the comments? I'm going to go, this is great. Leave this here, but before I'm going to address this comment, producer Nate, and then I want to go back to the comment from the very beginning that we started with about the direction on this film, because this is it. Jim, I'm going to go back to this comment because everything I just said. Jim, I saw it earlier. It's a failure of the director. Scenes that should have been funny did not hit. This is what we're doing. We are seeing the same film. And you know what, Jim? I am 1000% certain that we are correct here. And Jim, this is what drives me crazy. How do I see it? How do you see it? That this director is a failure and destroys the film by his inability to know the timing and the pacing and the tone of his film, and he destroys it by the choices he makes because he's untalented at telling the story. And you see it and I see it. We need more people to see it. And it has to start at the studio level. Jim, you and I, we can't change the world. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to come on the stream. We're going to do our best. That's what I want to do. So for everybody, no. Mega YouTube, no. I can't believe. No. I want it directed by a Farrelly brother or Paul Feig who knows how to direct a comedy. Not Scorsese. You're missing it. And if you, Mega YouTube, I need to get you to the point where you see what I'm doing. You need to watch a comedy directed by a Paul Feig. Go back and watch Last Christmas and then watch No Hard Feelings. You see talent versus hack. You see someone who knows what they're doing versus someone who has no fucking clue. And by the way, it should be flipped because No Hard Feelings is a film that should work. The idea of No Hard Feelings, a 32-year-old woman who's a shit show of a human being who needs to pay her rent to bang a 20-year-old kid because he has failure to launch, that should work. Conversely, a movie about a down on her luck 20-something store worker who can't figure her life out, then comes across a guy who shows her how to relive the joy of life. But, oh, by the way, he's a ghost because he died. And the reason she's alive is because his heart is in her body. That should never work. But you know why one works and one doesn't? Last Christmas works and No Hard Feelings doesn't? Because of the directorial talent of Paul Feig versus Greg shit for talent. That's why. And that's what we do here. No one else on YouTube's doing this. And if I'm the only person, so be it. I'm right. And if a studio exec watches the show, and I know they do, there are people inside the studios who watch this show. And the reason they do is they hear that and they go, holy shit, that dude nailed it. That is 100% accurate. That's the beauty of what we do. Because it's, Retro Nerd Girl, you know why you're loving it? Because I am so passionate about untalented people in this space. And I even mean in this space, in the YouTube space, in the review space. If you go to watch No Hard Feelings and you don't recognize that it is so poorly directed on a comedy level, not as a direction like a Scorsese or a Nolan or a Rose Glass. We got the woman director in there, everybody. And I love Saint Maud. No, we're talking about competent direction of a comedy. And my boy Greg sucks. That's why you love the stream. And we look at streams from YouTubers who can't even identify bad direction in a comedy. It's just a comedy. Neg YouTube, I'm not attacking you again. It's just a comedy. Why are you being so hard on it? Because it should have been better. That's when I get angry. Whenever a film had the possibility of being good or not great, this film was never going to be great, but at least good, and it's destroyed by the direction that is so untalented and so poorly calibrated. That is the exact term for my boy Greg tonight. You have no talent at film calibration. This is a story that is very hard to tell because it's tonally difficult. But you wrote the script, dude. Unfortunately, the script isn't that funny, but the calibration, this is something that no one else understands. Oh, very few do. Okay. And if there's a director out there, they're listening to me and they're like, this guy, he's about ready to nail. I think he's about ready to say what I know. And I'm going to. Calibration of film is the most underrated quality that a director has to possess because most people can't even identify it. They don't understand what that means. That means that the film is dialed in, calibrated to the point of perfection where you watch it and you go, every choice made by the director makes the film stronger. Look at a Parasite. Look at a Social Network. Look at a Raging Bull. Look at a Taxi Driver. Look at a Saint Maud. Look at a Tar. These are masterfully calibrated films. Masterfully calibrated. This film is shit from a calibration standpoint, and that tells me you don't have any talent. Martin, what I like about MMT, it's objective and no shilliness. No, listen, guys, when you do a stream like this, it's going to get out there. Someone is going to show this to the director. Jennifer Lawrence is going to see where I said she should fire everybody who told her to make the film. Because it's that bad. Because it's that disastrous from what I just saw. And I'm going to continue doing that. I don't care if no one invites me to another screening, to another party ever again. I will sit in my truth knowing that what I am speaking here are facts. I am spitting facts about the film industry that no one else wants to discuss. And I have no problem doing that. That's what we'll continue to do here. Thank you, Martin. No, that's the beauty. Someone could come in here, like we always say, I got to do it again quickly. And they're going to say, Weber's loud. Weber's opinionated. He's lost his mind. He's out of control. Fine. You can say all those things. I'm not going to argue with those sometimes. A lot of time. But the one thing you'll never hear someone say, that guy's a shill. That guy's compromised. That guy works for the industry. I would love to work for the industry to make it better. Not to be a yes man. To be a no man. To watch No Hard Feelings and go, no. Greg, you're fired. Hire one of the Farrelly brothers to go back in and re-edit this film. Make it happen now. I walk out of the room. That's it. That's the conversation. Greg, you're fired. Assistant, get me one of the Farrelly brothers on the phone now. Get him in here to edit this film. I'm out. Walk back to the office. That's what needed to be done. And by the way, it's the same shit when you come out of Halloween Ends. Go back and watch the stream. If I was in the room after they showed me David Gordon Green's Halloween Ends, I would look directly at David Gordon Green, take a moment, and I would say, you're fired. The movie's scrapped. And we're going to go back in and redo the entire film. I need a new script writer right now. David Gordon Green, you're off The Exorcist. In fact, you're off the lot. Your key card's inaccessible. It's going dead in 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes on the clock, and that's it. You can hit the road. Out. Now, hit the road. This is you desecrated the shape. And that's what we need more. We need more of that in this town. We need more people who are ruthless. Not ruthless, mean for no reason. Ruthless in their evaluations of these films. And I will do that. Bring me in. Give me a consultant fee and I'll absolutely do it. Because I don't care. I have no. Why am I going to run from that? Producer Nate, give me something. Give me something, baby. Give me something. We're almost up on an hour. We'll go a little bit longer. Okay. Let's do Jimmy. Welcome to the channel. Jimmy Can't. Do you think Barbie versus Oppenheimer will be Pitch Perfect 2 versus Mad Max Fury Road again? I do. Okay. Great question, because I wanted to talk about Barbie. We did the story the other night. Go look for it. It's in the stream. It's also on a video. I've been clipping some stuff out of the streams to make it tighter for you guys if you just want to watch one thing. The other thing I'm going to go through on these streams, I'm going to try to go through and at least put the bookmark as to where we are talking about different things. Now, tonight's going to be difficult because I jumped all over the place with No Hard Feelings, because it's one of these rare evenings that I have where I have so much to get out that it almost takes over the show in a way that unfortunately becomes almost unmanageable. I understand that for some of you watching, you're like, my God. But the problem is I can't stop. When I watch something like No Hard Feelings and you see the direction that we were just subjected to, you are going to have a very violent reaction to it. And because we want these films to be better, if I was a shill, if I was somebody who is just whatever, I would come on here and go, it's fun. It's a fun little comedy. No, we are going so far under the hood on these evaluations, and it shouldn't be that hard to see because Jim saw it. Jim saw the same film, and there's going to be other people who see it too. Trust me. In fact, let me just, okay, I have to do this. And producer Nate, by the way, give me any super chats that show up, because I'll stay on for a little bit longer for super chats. But other than that, honestly, I am exhausted because I just absolutely unloaded on this film and I can't do too much more. But I do want to look at the reviews for No Hard Feelings, and I want to see if some other people are with me on this. Here we go. Josh, I'll get you. Yeah, thank you. Josh, let me do that before I do this, because I do want to get super chat and then we'll go to that. Favorite recent horror film for me. Okay, it's clearly not Evil Dead Rise. Extremely disappointed. Scream 6, my God. Halloween Ends, disaster. I like Barbarian. There's a lot of things I have to say about the film. Go back and look at my stream on Barbarian. I'd like you to watch that, Josh, if you haven't, and tell me what you think, because I think I was hard on that film, and I think I'm right. I want you to go back and look at that. I also want you to look at my stream Smile. I like Smile a lot. Go watch my Smile stream. Those two streams, going back, and a lot of you are new to the channel, go back and watch Barbarian, go back and watch Smile. Watch those streams and listen to my evaluation of those films. I think I'm right on both, but those are two films. I like Barbarian for the swings it takes, but I like Smile overall as a film, and I really love the directorial talent. That's a great example of a film where the direction is hella good. And when you look at that, that's where you want to push that and really shine a light on the direction of the film. Here tonight, you want to shine a light on the direction for all the wrong reasons. Great question, Josh. If I think of another one, Sunday, I'll come up with some recent horror. There's something that I'm thinking of that's really right there. I mean, X for sure. X from last year is one of my top 10 films of the year. I love X. I think it's fantastic. Go watch that stream, by the way. Sham, and then we'll get to the quick thing. A24 Priscilla by Sofia Coppola, Too Soon After Elvis Doesn't Matter. Awards race. Yes, it's going to be Hurt. Great question, Sham. Thank you for bringing me that. I didn't see the trailer yet, but I do want to mention that it's going to be Hurt by Too Soon After Elvis. We saw that happen with the Mr. Rogers situation, right? We had the documentary, and then we had, listen, Once Upon a Time, what was the name of the Mr. Rogers movies behind me? Won't You Be My Neighbor? The other one was, what was the other one? One was whatever. The movie with Tom Hanks, Won't You Be My Neighbor? A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. That's the documentary. Won't You Be My Neighbor? A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. The documentary is so much better. But the reason that the Mr. Rogers movie, other than the fact it's not good at all, like the Mr. Rogers movie is terrible, I would argue, especially because the movie's not about Mr. Rogers. It's about the journalist. What are we doing? The screenplay is abysmal in that film. But it was still hurt by the documentary, even though the documentary wasn't even nominated. I mean, how crazy was that? The best documentary of the year was not nominated, not even nominated for a best documentary. Okay, bring more super chats. So yes, it will be hurt by that. Yeah, when you're a fun guy. Oh my God, you could be a writer. Brett, are you a writer? You could have written a joke. It'd be funnier than some of the stuff in No Hard Feelings. Let me see. Okay, so No Hard, this is now we're doing something right here. No Hard Feelings, 65% on the tomato meter. Let me go to the rottens. I don't even want to read the positives because uneven, Kyle, uneven. That's the problem. It's horrifically uneven. What are you doing, dude? I like Kyle Smith, but there's no smart new twists. It's not expertly counterbalancing. What the hell is Kyle Smith talking about? What the dude? I wish I had him on the stream right now. What are you fucking talking about, Kyle? Expertly counterbalancing? There's nothing expertly done here. The actors are good, but the screenplay's terrible. The tone's an embarrassment. Let's read some bad ones. Rachel Wagner, the script isn't funny enough. Thank you. A lost opportunity. You're too kind. Nicking bits of other movies is fine, but the trick is to create something fresh. Well, simply not up to par with Lawrence's talent. Yes, that's good. A serviceable summer comedy to keep the J-Law lover. No, it's not even serviceable. Distressingly labored and ostensibly raunchy rom-com that can no longer. I wanted to enjoy this. So did I. Derek Smith from Slant Magazine, everybody. Derek is an expert evaluator, much like myself. Let's read it together. What ultimately sinks No Hard Feelings is its inability to convincingly meld its excessively bawdy humor to its Hallmark Channel level drama of two opposites who help one another to embrace life. Derek Smith, I'm not even going to read another thing. Derek Smith from Slant, you win the review off. The tone of this film is a fucking disaster, and that's exactly what Derek's talking about. Thank you for seeing the same movie, and thank you for being good at your job. You are talented, Derek. We give you 7 gold stars tonight for that nailed review. 1.5 out of 4. It's just about where we are. I don't need to read another one. There's one other person who sold the exact same thing. It cannot get the tone right, and it also is poorly directed in moments that jokes should land. They hold it too long. The edit isn't tight enough. Everything's extended. It needs to be compacted. This whole thing should be shoved into a trash compactor, and then it might be decent as a cube of trash rather than the giant stream of refuse that it is. Guys, I'm about done. That took so much energy. My bandwidth is out. This is one of those streams where the bandwidth is exhausted. And any more super chats, producer Nate? Anything? Bring it to me. Otherwise, we're going to get ready to wrap. Oh, nope, not yet though. Super chats, you get in. Otherwise, I do want to talk about this. We had the trailer for the GameStop movie that's coming out. Paul Dano, Craig Gillespie. What's it called? It just came out today. I literally was trying to slam this in last second. I watched the trailer. Which one is it? It's not called GameStop. Someone come in the comments and tell me. Hold on, I'm looking for it on Twitter. Where is it? This is Dumb Money. Okay. So Dumb Money is the brand new film coming out with Paul Dano, Craig Gillespie directs. Craig Gillespie, I, Tonya. What's it called? Dalmatians movie. Yeah, with Emma Stone. Yes, Cruella. He's very good. Talk about a good comedy director. Craig Gillespie. Bad comedy director. Greg, what's his ass tonight? Watch GameStop Rise of the Players. Documentary from Neon/Super, their label for docs. Very good, very tight, and it's going to get you ready for this film coming up soon. I can't wait to see it. This could be a surprise awards film. When I watched this trailer, I was like, this looks good. Because I love Craig Gillespie and Paul Dano's badass. Plus, you have all these other really strong actors here. Seth Rogen's in here. Looks like he's playing a little bit against type. You have all these great actors in here. Woodley's in it. It's going to be good. But go watch GameStop Rise of the Players. Anyone who watched that, I'll do a comment on that because that's our must-see. Documentary from last year. And it's tight. It's really interesting. If you know nothing, I know nothing about trading. I'm never going to be on here doing like a show about buy this stock and all. I would fail that miserably. Some would argue I fail evaluating films, but they'd be wrong. But we will not do that. Watch GameStop because it'll help you understand it. I think it does a good job of dumbing down the complexities of stock trading. Conversely, I think a film that is way too over informative about its subject and really hurt by the fact that it tries to do too much explaining shit that makes no sense is The Big Short. The Big Short, I'll go off on that another time, but The Big Short is a film that does not work because Adam tries to tell too much about the interworkings of the financial system that do not make any sense to somebody who doesn't do shorts and stocks and the crap. They don't understand this shit. I don't sit around talking about money all day. You guys can tell. I sit around watching shit movies, really horrifically disappointing movies, by directors who don't have the talent to pull them off in No Hard Feelings. That's what we spend our time with. God forbid, why would I not try to make money on the stock market? It'd be more beneficial to me than coming on here ranting about movies. Paul Dano, the hot wings thing, great interview. I should, because I interviewed Paul Dano in Boston. He came in for Ruby Sparks, right? Ruby Sparks? Ruby Shines? Ruby Sparks. Was it? Okay. So he came in along with his girlfriend. I'm forgetting her name from She Said. She's very good in She Said, and she's also very good in Ruby Sparks. Tell me it's Ruby Sparks. I don't have time to Google it. He came in with her promoting the film, and I told him I really liked the film because it's smart. What I love about that film is that it's about writing, and it's heady, and it's about the writing process, and it really feels authentic, and it is because it's written by, I think both of them wrote that film. But he's a great guy, very smart, very intelligent guy, and you see that. Zoe Kazan, thank you, Life of Bry. They came in, and they both were sweet. And obviously Ruby Sparks was not a huge film, but it was a film that I really liked. That's another must-see for down the road. That's our must-see another night. I'll bring that whole story back because we're at the end of the stream and I kind of botched it a little bit. Zoe Kazan's very good. All right. Any other super chats? Otherwise, we're going to roll out. We have 500 comments, guys. I want to get to as many as possible. I really do. But truth be told, as the channel grows, as we lose our minds on these things from time to time, like tonight, I can't get to as many comments. If you do a super chat, even if it's like $2, I don't even care. We'll get to it. Okay, guys, we will get to your super chat, and I'll try to get to as many as possible because I know that I value what you guys bring to the table. I want you to, for your homework tonight, for sure, before Sunday, I want you, please, I really am begging you to do this. Please go watch No Hard Feelings this weekend. And when you do, I don't want you to watch the film like just, let it wash over you. I want you to really pay attention to the direction, the edits, the score usage, the music usage. I want you to pay attention to the assembly of the film. I want you to pay attention to the calibration of this film. And when you go, and we talked about this so long ago when we started this channel, I haven't mentioned it in a long time. When we watch a film, we are doing the magic eye, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. You look at the picture long enough and all of a sudden it pops. We are doing that with film. We're watching the film and then we're going to train our eye to be able to all of a sudden see all the layers at once. So it's a 3D thing we're looking at now, right? It's not this 2D thing on the screen. It's a three-dimensional, you're seeing all of the elements and watching the film. So you're evaluating on all kinds of levels. Acting, screenplay, direction, edit, score, cinematography, calibration, obviously, ultimately overall, you're looking at that. And when you do that, when you watch No Hard Feelings and you really do that magic eye on this, you're going to see so many flaws that it's going to infuriate you and you're going to become better as an evaluator. And I'm telling you, there's a studio head or a studio exec in this town that's going to watch this stream. They're going to listen to what I say about No Hard Feelings and they're going to go, shit, that guy knows what the fuck he's talking about. He just nailed it. This is a film that is so poorly calibrated, it destroys whatever it could have been. And that is why we went off this stream. That is why I love doing this show, because we love to point out the things that virtually everybody else, except for our friend over Rotten Tomatoes, our friend writer at Slant, who nailed it. The tone is shit in this film, and the calibration is that of a student director or worse. And for that, No Hard Feelings is one of the worst films of 2023. The direction is abysmal. Watch it this weekend. Come back on Sunday. Get into it with me about the film. I know it's just a comedy. Why are you being so hard? Because we want better films. Because we want talented people calling the shots. We need to start telling these people it's not good enough and get rid of them. They're gone. You're fired. It's out. It is like the stream over.